From the industry, through the community, right into your home. It's the Green Room, and we're on. What's going on, everybody? It's Lester from Cannabis Wiki. We are here with our award-winning cannabis social influencer and advocate, also best-selling author with over 2 million Facebook followers, over 130,000 Instagram followers, our North American cannabis flower, The Big Drip, your Jackie Childs.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Green Room. Thanks
Welcome to the Green Room, everybody. You guys know it's another episode of the Green Room, and today we have no other than I Am CannaBess.
Yes, and I'm a huge fan. Like I've said on other shows, I'm bore easy, and I scour the internet for girls to follow that are cool and doing something great in the industry. And
well, this lady's not only cool; she's like a fashion icon. And
well, it's her pictures actually that I was like, what does she look like? Because I was looking at you. You've got some pictures with a lady with a big afro and like fancy, like vintage clothes,
right?
Yeah.
So, guys, without no further ado, I want to introduce I Am CannaBess.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey,
Thank you for taking the time. What's going on? What's happening with you?
Oh gosh, well, just a rainy day in Seattle. So I might take a little dab. I got my dab rig right here.
Nice.
Like a nice little vase. Got some Humboldt Terp Council Banana OG. It sounds like that's a good strain to start with. For Friday.
Nice.
Sativa strain?
I love sativas. I assume most stuff that's like OG is like OG
Indie.
Kush. So
Indica.
I don't know, but I love Humboldt Terp Council. I had a chance to connect with them at a couple different California events, and I just love their extracts. They're like so flavorful. It's just they've been in the industry for so many years.
What do they specialize in?
What
do they specialize in?
Let's see. This looks like some sort of like a terpene sauce of some sort. They're extracts.
Okay.
They're a really great extract company. So if you're ever in California, Humboldt Terp Council.
Plug. Not sponsored. So, okay. So let's tell our listeners or viewers who you are
and what are you up into?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I guess let me kind of start at the backstory. I was living in Los Angeles doing marketing. I started a political nonprofit. I'm kind of a closet nerd when it comes to like fiscal economic issues.
Okay.
And so I started a nonprofit to educate millennials about the U.S. national debt. We're 23 trillion in debt at the moment. That I woke up to the national debt when I lived in China 10 years ago when we borrowed the $1 trillion stimulus. So I was living in LA, going to move to DC. I had an opportunity to move to Washington, DC and get into more politics. And I jokingly told a girlfriend that owned a grow, oh, I'm moving to DC in a month unless you know anyone in the cannabis industry that can make me a better offer. And she did. And I was like, well, everyone likes pot more than politics. Pot is still really political. It kind of aligns with a lot of my beliefs, just the freedom to do what you want with your body,
right.
Just the job creation aspect of it, the economic revenue generator of it. So the answer was obvious, like, to the weed industry it is.
Couldn't legalizing
so in the industry, I was like in a grow, doing everything from cloning to harvest to sales and just learning it all.
Okay,
and I started doing more lifestyle photography because the company I worked for, their tagline was light up the moment. And so it was very Northwest lifestyle, cannabis incorporated. And it performed really well. And so about a year into the industry, I went on a Tinder date with a guy who also was in the industry. And I jokingly told him that I want to differentiate my weed photography from everything else.
Right.
And he said, do people call you CannaBess? And I said, no, but they're about to.
That's a good one. That's a good.
So that was the creation.
So you mentioned the debt. You were talking about the debt. Doesn't legalizing cannabis take care of our debt, or shouldn't it?
Well, the American debt is a different story.
No, and this is why I'm like, it would help with that. But aside from us being $23 trillion in debt, we actually have about $160 trillion in unfunded liabilities. So the Social Security that we're paying into today is currently being paid out today. If it was a private company, it would be a Ponzi scheme, but I guess the government can get away with these things.
Right.
So the government has made about 100 plus, it's anywhere from like 160 to 200 trillion in unfunded promises. And I think that our generation is really going to get hit with this.
I'm trying to stay very unaware of your government and political situation right now.
Probably better up there. I wouldn't want to deal with it either. We're a mess down here.
So no,
weed is legal.
I want to stay on the political thing. So how was the traction when you first started getting into it?
Oh, when I started getting into politics?
Yeah.
I feel like that the national debt is a bipartisan issue. It's something that, our media, nobody reports on it. It's not a sexy topic. No one wants to know the debt versus the deficit or, why the national debt matters to them. But at the end of the day, the national debt does matter to us because the higher that our debt is, the more, that we're paying in interest payments, and that money could be spent on roads, schools, healthcare, homeless, like so many more things than paying interest to a private bank. Believe it or not, the Federal Reserve is actually a privately owned bank that controls all of our money.
Right.
So it's really corrupt. And the US dollar is not backed by gold. We haven't been backed by gold in decades. So there's just kind of this, lack of fiscal accountability from our politicians on both sides.
So from the beginning of this
makes
journey,
me want to smoke a lot of pot.
Let me take a dab.
Look at that. She grabs a massive torch.
Dab torch.
Go, get it up. So from the beginning of the journey, have you seen any changes, anything substantial to now where we're at?
With the cannabis industry or the national debt?
The national debt.
Oh, yeah, it just keeps going up. And what's crazy is because I like to get really high and download government budget projections. Even the Obama administration, his last budget that he released projected us another $10 trillion in debt over the next 10 years. Wow. So it's a two-party problem. Neither side wants to solve it. And I think that at some point we're going to reach that tipping point where, why are we paying, for endless war? Why are we paying corrupt bureaucrats six-figure salaries and pensions for life? At what point do we say enough is enough? And just, I don't want to advocate for revolt or anything like that. That tipping point is going to happen. And I'm worried that we're going to see, the 2008 fiscal crisis, but on steroids.
You're a serious dabber. I'm sorry. You're talking away and I'm like, what the hell?
I'm watching her skill.
She's got a
steady
massive
hand
blowtorch. That looks like some sort of jug.
I love to dab. Dabbing is definitely my favorite consumption method. And even with politics, Washington State, I think that the bill got canned, but they were trying to put an extract ban on concentrates over 10% THC.
Wow. And
I did the math, and I, of course, emailed them about it. And I was like, wait, we generated $397 million in excise tax revenue. 40% of that was extracts. I'm going to estimate 90% of those extracts tested over 10% THC. So that's a reduction in $148 million in excise tax revenue.
Whoa. Wow.
So I think that really kind of hit home for the politicians, and they were like, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't do this.
What are the rules and the laws around cannabis where you live? What are medicinal rec? What's the deal?
Oh, let me take this dab.
Do it.
You take your dab.
Cheers. I love it.
Okay, so she had a massive blowtorch, but it's also a big dab too. It's not just a little.
Well, I like my nails really clean, so I feel like the big blowtorch blows everything off.
She comes out with a massive. You need hazmat suit or something. She's got this.
I went to Home Depot to get a refill of it, and I walked in with a girlfriend, and we're like, we're looking for your butane torches, and they're like, oh, what is it? Ladies' dab night?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Look at her
I love it.
little jug. That's cool.
Yeah, this is a company called Purr Glass, or Purr, P-U-R-R. They're a husband and wife team in Northern California, and they do all American-made glass. And I love this piece. It's so beautiful.
It's really cool. It's
looks
really,
like a
really
liquor
nice.
bottle.
Yeah, it looks like a big old liquor, like a jug.
Cool.
Yeah, their glass is wonderful.
It's really, really nice.
So what time is
not sponsored, just a fan.
What time of the day is it there?
It is 10:18 in the morning.
Okay.
Wow. And we just had a snowstorm here. What time is it here? 1?
Yes, it is.
1 in the afternoon. We had a big snowstorm. You've got a little rain. I would trade.
We have a lot of rain. We actually have flooding at the moment in parts of the state because we have so much rain. And normally it would be snow this time of year, but it's been abnormally warm. So I guess we're going to get flooding instead.
So tell us about the weed legalization.
So
medical rec, what's the deal?
We've got some laws that are really good. We don't allow for vertical integration here, which I think people can feel has its pros and cons. In Washington, they were really concerned about it creating monopolies. So in Washington, you can't own a producer processor license and a retail license. There are companies that definitely have like finagled that loophole. Like you'll have the grower that goes and has his friend get the license for the shop.
Right.
And so there's that kind of stuff. The other thing that I don't think that we don't allow recreationally is home grow. If you want to home grow, you have to get a medical license. And in Washington, in order to get a medical license, you have to have like PTSD, cancer, HIV, chronic renal failure, like pretty serious illnesses. Our state doesn't consider anxiety, bipolar, or depression qualifying medical conditions.
Wow.
So I guess they would just rather have everyone dependent on
because we're all depressed and we're all anxious.
That's crazy. That's crazy to not include those.
Yeah. And then the other reason too, why the state makes it really hard for people to get medical cards and also even to sell your product medically is because the state doesn't get to collect tax revenue on it. So they really try to disincentivize that.
Right.
At the producer processor level, which is sad because you have these people that really need access to clean medicine, higher dosages, and the state.
What is the legal dosage? Like we're 10 milligrams here. Is that you as well?
Oh, 10 milligrams per package or total?
Per package.
Like,
so like a pre-roll, every candy is 10 milligrams, an extract 10 milligrams of this, 10 milligrams THC.
Yeah. So if it's a chocolate, they break it into the right amount of pieces so that the total packaging is 10 milligrams.
So our edibles are like that, where it's 10 milligrams per edible, but you can have 100 milligrams of THC per box. And I think, is it 1,000 milligrams of CBD per box?
Do we have a thing on CBD? I don't think we do. Do we? It's just THC. 10 milligrams. 10 milligrams.
I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I don't know if any of your politicians are like ours, but the people making our laws seem to know nothing about cannabis.
Oh, yeah, that's same here, too. Same with the people making our cannabis also seem to know nothing about cannabis. The growers, everybody.
In Washington, we're really lucky because I've looked at Canada's market. I've kind of seen just the industry. I had an experience, I don't know if I can name names, but I had a very corporate experience with a company in Seattle that also has a facility in Canada. And it's actually what made me start my agency because I was so just disappointed with how much money these men had and how disconnected they were from the industry and the plant.
Right.
But they didn't smoke. And it was very, very well reflected in their mindset, the marketing they produce, their belief that you can just buy weed from whoever, and and then just seeing their Canadian production. Luckily in Washington, I do feel like we have a lot of medical people that have transitioned over, or people that really are passionate about the plant and doing it right. You've always had the corporate kind of douchebags exist, but I feel like that we luckily have a really, really great brand diversity, in our market. Are
you a medical patient?
I'm not a medical patient, and the reason I'm not a medical patient is because I don't want to be on a government registry of any sort. I'm also a big believer in the Second Amendment. I was home alone maybe 4 years ago when my house was broken into, and it was like a Sunday afternoon, and I just believe our laws are set up that I have the constitutional right to defend myself using any means necessary.
And did you?
And so once you
wait, are you going? You have a gun? Is that
a firearm?
Whoa! Wait, whoa.
Say that again. Explain that again, because that's a huge one. So
yeah. So if you become a medical patient, then you aren't allowed to own a firearm. You won't pass a background check for getting a firearm because cannabis is still federally illegal.
Right.
That you can't. It's considered like a drug with a deadly weapon. So, but then it comes down to, in my opinion, like states' rights. And if it's statewide legal, then shouldn't I be? I don't know. But I don't want to be on a government list.
That's huge.
One more thing though. So did you defended yourself with your firearm?
I didn't. No, I didn't come down to that.
Okay.
But to me, just with just some of the situations that our city has been having with like homeless, violence, We've had a huge opioid increase.
That's what I
work
was gonna ask.
downtown in an area in Pioneer Square. It's a beautiful historic part of Seattle, and it's been overrun with drug addicts. I could go and pull out. I started collecting all the syringe caps I find on my way to work, and I'm putting them in a bag so I can take them to a city council meeting. Our city gives out 8 million syringes a year. Taxpayers fund 8 million syringes a year. And it's started to fund just an increase in violence. The bus route that I take, luckily I wasn't on it, but at 5:30 p.m. on a Tuesday, there was like a gang shooting in like a popular part of downtown. 5 people were shot, 1 was killed.
Right.
Same thing outside my office, maybe a year ago. A couple people got into like a gang fight and shot and killed people.
So how is the opioid crisis out there?
Like what? Yeah.
It's awful. Our city, I think, oh my gosh, now I'm like stoned and I'm like, the truth, I think that
Preach.
keep funding it, because think about it. Our city now, we're spending over $1 billion a year. The King County, Seattle metro area spends $1 billion a year to fight homelessness. That is a big part of that is caused by the drug use. Like that has been increasing the homelessness in Seattle. They've done documentaries about it. But I think about it. The more that a problem persists, the more government can justify taxing us and increasing, the taxes to solve the problem.
Right. So is there a lack of help for the opioid epidemic or crisis that's going on there?
I don't think so. There are lots of shelters. I know people that, a gentleman that actually works in our office building, he used to be a heroin addict, and he went to it's Plymouth Housing. They offer transitional housing services. He was able to get sober, get clean. Now he owns like a website design agency and lives in a insanely expensive condo downtown that he pays for himself. That's awesome. So the services are there. I think that the city has taken a really lax approach to it. They're like, it's okay if you want to do your drugs, which is fine. Like if you want to do drugs, fine, of any kind, fine, as long as you're not hurting other people in the process, or like you're able to, maintain your day-to-day life in the process, but I don't think it's fair that, I'm going to parks to shoot photos and my photographer is almost stepping on a needle that's like left in the bushes.
So you said they hand out needles, and that the government funds these like things for clean needles and safe needles and these safe injection sites or whatever. Do you agree or believe?
Sorry, hang on. I thought my phone was turned off. It came in on
You're allowed to call. I'll wait.
You're good.
Do you believe that perhaps handing out joints would help, or if there was more education around?
I think so. Providing alternatives, CBD alternatives, even kratom. Kratom is another plant-based alternative that has been shown to help with opioid reduction.
Can you explain?
What is that?
Can you explain what that is? I was just at an event and the guy's like, "Oh, it's like tea. Have a drink." And I was like, wait a minute."
I've never done it, but apparently you can like buy it at the gas station. You can buy it in capsules. You can buy it as teas. And I think it's a plant, so I assume it's kind of like cannabis. Where
what is it? Do you know what it is?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm also a big believer that like the best things are found in nature. Like nature is providing us a plant-based solution to the chemicals and toxins that we're being fed by big pharma.
That's a big win for me. That's plant-based medicines. I'm getting down with that. Information is power here.
What do you think about mushrooms?
I'm a big fan of mushrooms. They actually grow in the wild in Washington State. I'm sure in parts of Canada is probably.
Yeah, they do. I've done foraging weekends and stuff where you can find them, and yeah,
and not even psychedelic mushrooms, just all kinds of mushrooms. What is like reishi mushroom? What is the snowshoe mushroom? There's like all kinds of mushrooms that just the mycelial web.
Mycelial
so
web.
We don't know.
She's a smarty pants.
Well, I saw Paul Stamets. He came and spoke at an event a couple years ago in Washington, and it kind of opened up my mind when he told me the story of if you look at the mycelial web under like a micron microscope, like a high microscope, what it looks like. And then he showed us a picture of what like a scan of like deep space and like black holes look like, and it was like the same thing.
Oh, real?
Ooh, I want to eat some of that.
Yeah.
That must have tweaked the mind.
Are mushrooms illegal, decriminalized, legal? What's the deal?
They're decriminalized in parts of not parts of Washington. In Denver has decriminalized, and I believe Oakland has decriminalized. But they're still, I think, federally illegal.
So you have Washington, we have Ottawa. So Ottawa is very political, and it's a tough space to be in cannabis, and it's actually a nightmare for any business owners it's ridiculous. Is it like that for you in Washington? Like, because you're under the political microscope?
Well, I'm glad you asked. My hometown is that way. So my hometown, I grew up in an area called Tri-Cities. It's 3 cities by the river. It's pretty conservative. It's like farm town, really like pretty religious communities, which is fine. I was raised Catholic, but I got kicked out of altar serving, so whatever.
Why was that, Bess?
Yeah, so sorry, Mom. But no, so our hometown, when I-502 passed, they placed a moratorium on pot shops in Tri-Cities. And basically, they've made it so that you can't put pot shops within city limits. And then there's also some weird rules with growing. I know I've worked with a farm that's like in Benton City, and they had some issues where they had gotten their license. They're in some weird like unincorporated county area that allows them to exist. But then when they wanted to expand, the city told them no, and then said that like if they wanted to expand, they had to get a second facility on a second property. And then when it comes to shops, so we don't have any shops within city limits, but here's where it gets interesting. So one of the pot shops that does exist, again, in an unincorporated area, that gentleman ran for Kennewick City Council. And he won because he was running against like the career nuclear plant employee that's like, you know, the old dude that's been there forever. And he was like, hey, I'm a young pot shop owner. And he ran a great campaign. He won. I'm thinking like, oh, cool, maybe he'll do something to lift the moratoriums so that other people can reach the same success that he has seen with his shop. He makes about $1 million a month in sales, again, because there's
nothing else.
It's banned. So he is like one of the few people that has a license.
Right, he's the only one.
He didn't do anything to try and lift that. And actually the local libertarians came because they were trying to get petitions, to like petition city council to get it on a local ballot. And his staff told them not to come back.
What?
Oh, wow. He's just being a monopoly, right? Like he
1,000%.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is then, because we were Facebook friends, and he was boasting about a 10 a.m. text marketing message that he had sent out. And he was like, look there's 100 people in line by 10 a.m. That's the power of marketing. And I was like, that's not the power of marketing. That's the power of a monopoly.
Power of monopoly.
You haven't done anything to lift that so that other people can reach that same success. And it's really sad that you're laughing and like joking and enjoying the fact that some of these people are coming here for medicine.
Right.
And now they're wait in a 100-person line at 10 a.m. That shows how desperate people are.
Yeah.
And you're not going to, like, if I was to win city council in Tri-Cities in my hometown, that'd be the first thing I'm doing. Like, let's stop. We have bars on every corner. Like, why are we letting people drink? Everybody in my hometown drinks and drives because it's all spread out. And just, I mean, it's awful. We should be encouraging, like, cannabis, stay at home, smoke some pot, like, chill with your friends. You know, like, here's a safer alternative.
Are you going to run? Someday, are you going to run for do you want to be in politics on that level?
1,000%. And like just, kind of just bringing the power back to people in like a voluntary setting. Like people want to advocate for more government and like that, we need government to do this, but we are government. But like when you give government that power, then I don't know, I'm kind of high. I'm like,
go on, this is good.
And it really is just like the belief in like non-aggression, non-use of force. Like what are all these problems that we have in our communities and how can we solve them, on a voluntary, activist basis. But a lot of the times based on just the economics and the numbers is like when you put government in power to like solve the problem, there's less accountability to actually get it solved because they just look at us as like endless money. I mean, look at Washington State, 300 last year, the 2019 data just came out, but in 2018, it was $368 million in excise tax revenue. And of that, like only 15 million went to cities and counties. 198 million went to just like a general fund.
Whoa.
What is the general fund? What is it? The general fund.
What is the general fund?
Okay.
Never knows.
Miscellaneous.
Did you vote for Trump?
So all right, let's lighten this up. So how did you get into cannabis photography?
I've always always been into photography. I mean, I've been carrying a camera to school since like 3rd grade. I've got boxes of film, from growing up. And then when I lived in China after college, I've started shooting digital. When I went to China after college, that's when I really got into photography.
So hold on, we got to get to China too, because you're bilingual, right? Because you're bilingual.
有一点，来华州大学我学中文学了3年。
Boom.
I'm
Yeah. I think that was on the lines of translation.
Arigato? I don't know. Or is that Japanese?
So in college, I took three and a half years of Chinese. And so that's why I went and lived in China.
Okay.
But when I lived over there, so the Chinese government, they block all your social media. The Chinese government controls, my Skype just like flickered, so maybe they're listening to us.
All right, we've gone international.
Really? They block your
so
social
basically
media?
The Chinese government blocks all your social media, so I wasn't able to get on Twitter at the time. Facebook, Instagram didn't really exist.
Right.
So I started blogging, and so I was just like in China by myself, shooting pictures and blogging. And then I had figured out a way to like email my TwitPic account to post on Twitter links to my blog.
Oh, wow.
And had kind of figured out a loophole, and it just allowed me to like grow my photography skills and get more familiar with the camera. And so then and I've always been smoking pot. Like I've smoked pot since high school. So just, once the cannabis industry came to be, and, people were like, oh, do you want to do cannabis photography? It's like, it's just me doing photography, but with weed.
But with weed. Really, really
It was
cool.
a good fit for you.
It was a really natural fit. And especially the company that I'd moved up here for, they were all about like hiking and the outdoors and, nature and board sports, and like all that stuff is just what I like to do. And cannabis just enhances that.
Well, you got a nice trigger finger on the camera because your
Really
shots
cool.
are bang.
So thank you.
I think my friend Mel. Didn't you guys do a road trip together?
Yeah, she's awesome. That was so fun. She came out to Kelowna. I was doing a project for Vitalis. They make extraction technology. And she, I guess Small World, like knew one of the owners. So she came out, we met, and then we ended up road tripping all through Banff.
The pictures are really cool. She showed me a bunch
Yeah.
of pictures. They're gorgeous. They're really nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
I love
That's
it.
fun. I'm baked, I think, but I didn't. I'm trying to think. I'm like, did I smoke something? Or did I have an edible while we were talking?
Oh, yeah. So you're a big cannabis social influencer. How do you like that role?
Oh, I never really planned to have that role. Like people ask, how do I become a social influencer? And I think it just kind of happens. Like I did not set out to be like, I'm going to have like 10,000 followers or, it's just like I started posting and it just started gaining traction. And I started my account in early 2016. So the algorithm had still they hadn't really pushed that full force. Things were still like chronological.
Right.
And like Instagram still showed your content to people. So it was really easy to grow my account and just connect with all the repost pages. It was before Instagram had also purged a lot of the big accounts
Have you lost it? Have you ever been deleted or banned? Like, have you lost your account?
Yeah. Last 2018, I lost my account. I was deactivated and then reactivated 9 times. And
Wow.
And it was all over 94,000 followers. And it was one day my account was just gone. And I knew that kind of could happen because just having done social media for clients, people's accounts will go down. I've become very aware of not pushing sales or any sort of verbiage that could indicate sales.
Right.
And especially with my own page, it's I promoted on it nothing for sale, photography, whatever. And so one day it was just gone and I was like, no. And so I started filing appeals, both business and personal, which is just pro tip for anybody that's watching or listening. If you get deleted, it really helps if you send them your business license. It's hey, here I am. I'm a legit person. I'm not some scammer that's trying to sell black market product.
Right.
And, dirty carts.
I had to do the same thing.
But so then I was deleted for 3 days and then came back. And then a couple weeks later, I went down again. And I think I was down for almost 2 weeks. And same thing, I was filing appeals, 30, 40, 50 appeals all day, every day.
Wow.
Just relentless. Copy paste. And it's here's all my press links. Here's why everybody says you should bring me back. And then they deleted me again a third time when I was in Mexico with my mom. And I was down for 2 days. And then it really started to get bad. So then it came back. And then it was maybe November that my account went down, and then it was down for maybe like a month, and then it came back again. And then I remember I was at Apple Cup, which is like our 2 state colleges, the college I went to. It's like our football rivalry. And so I was like at an Apple Cup party, and I got an email because I was at the bar, like waiting to order a drink. You know, when you're at the bar by yourself and you're like, shit, what do I do? Like, I'll go to my phone, I'll like check my email. And I got an email to my Instagram had come back in. It like had been reactivated. And I was really drunk, and I was like, oh my God, like I don't even want to log in. Like, I don't want to get my hopes up. Like, I'm not going to even log back in. And so then like I drank a bunch, I like ordered shots. I was like, my Instagram's back. Never logged in, never posted about it on any of my accounts, ate some mushrooms later. I was like pumped. Got home at like 1 a.m. It was down again.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And so then it made me think, does somebody have like bot technology or something? Is there's something that's going on that's like, same thing as like, it's flagging it, or it's caught in something. And so then same thing, just filing appeals. And then the same thing, it was around Christmas time or like the December, it did the same thing where it like went down, came back, went down again.
Man.
And then it was down almost all of December. And I had like sponsored content that was like frozen in limbo because I couldn't get it out contractually to the companies that, you know, had paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And
almost a nightmare.
Still was, like, filing appeals. And then the 8th time it came back, it was January. It's like the first week of January, it just came back. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's back. And then I posted about it being back. And then in my sleep that night, it had been deactivated and reactivated by the time I woke up.
Like, what the hell?
That's crazy.
It's a business. It drives me mad. While you're talking the whole time, I'm thinking, oh, it drives me nuts. These are businesses.
I'm sure you can probably relate to
People,
it. Like,
it's
not just like posting.
I had my Facebook down for 11 months. 11 months.
No.
And people prepay for their posts and their sponsored ads and their whole thing. Like, so then my husband's messaging people, here's your check. We're going to send you out your check and send you out, like, returning people's money because we didn't know how long it was going to be. And it could be a week. It could be a day. It was 11 months. Like, it's a night. And that game, like you're saying, like, you're all excited. You tell everyone it's back, and then it's down, it's back. That plays with your emotions. That plays with your livelihood. That plays with your money. It's a mess.
So here's actually what I theorized might have caused the problem. Because when I woke up that morning and I was like, wait, it went down, but it's back. I was like, wait, this is the common denominator. Like, of all the times my profile had gone down, there was one common denominator. And in my Instagram bio, it said email for business inquiries, because people are always sending me DMs about like, oh, you want to work together? Do you want to shoot?
Let's collab. Let's collab.
So I think though that their AI either had it flagged as like, I'm selling email for business, and like here I am with bags of weed in my default picture.
Right.
You know, people either were flagging my page and reporting it as pot sales, and then their AI would see that and be like, oh, confirmed, down.
Right.
You know, or they just have AI technology
that's plausible,
and so I haven't had an issue since.
Okay.
And how long's it been that's been back? You haven't had an issue since last knock?
Year.
I knocked for you. Oh, God. So, since we're talking about social media, Twitter, Instagram, what do you like better?
I'd say they have they're each
they're
good.
So different.
They have their pros and cons. Like, I love Twitter because I love that you're able to have like more direct conversations with people. I like that, you know, they're just the timeline of it. There's a really strong community, and obviously the most important is that you can push cannabis sales on Twitter. At least I haven't had any issues with it. My clients were always promoting like sales, you know, pot shop discounts, you know, like on Twitter.
Right.
And we actually, for the shops that I work with, we actually encourage our customers to follow us on Twitter because we post our sales there.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And Twitter to me, I think is kind of mean. It's a mean sort of space. People are pretty aggressive and angry. I use it every day, but within the cannabis space, but people get hurt feelings like that.
How do you find it, Bess? Do you get the same kind of feedback that Jackie gets? Because working with Jackie, I get to hear a lot of the feedback that she gets. Is it the same for you out there?
Women and weed.
Yeah, people can be really mean. And I think it's not just Twitter. I think that people, when you have that like sort of almost like anonymity.
Anonymity?
Whatever.
Am I saying or
like, the stuff people have said on the internet about me, to me, like they don't ever say it to my face. I see these people at events and I'm like, hi, how are you? And it's like, I saw what you called me online. Like, you know,
right.
But you can't even make eye contact with me when I see you in person. And like, that says it all. I think with Twitter, I think maybe Twitter can also be kind of perceived as mean because sometimes people will like banter back and forth.
Right.
And I think sometimes like just, you know, even just wording, it can get taken out of context.
Right.
You know, I've even had people tell me that like, oh, you can come across really harsh. And it's like, well, yeah, because I love to write and I like to make my points. So I come in and I'm like, here's why I believe this. Fact.
Like she's a politician.
You know? I like it. I like
so your Instagram 90,000 or over 90,000 or something. Is that all cannabis related? Like you started as a cannabis account and it's always been a cannabis?
It's always been a cannabis account, never anything more. I actually got the handle because CannaBess was already taken. It was taken actually by a woman that worked at a pot shop like not too far from us. And I was like, hey, can I buy this Instagram handle from you? You know, my name's Bess and I want to create it for my weed photography. And then she like didn't write back. So I created I'm CannaBess and then it started taking off. And then I noticed like maybe a couple months later that she had just changed her handle.
Oh, wow.
And CannaBess as the backup.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Good for you.
Nice.
Social media.
Right.
Weird world, that's for sure. My parents can't believe it's a job, and some days neither can I.
I mean, I'm 46, and my son's like, when are you going to get a real job? Like, yeah, how do you tell people social media is your job? It is.
It is a good platform. So if you could... a
wish and a hope or a dream in the cannabis space? Is that
what would be the 3 top messages you would love to tell people out here?
Oh, I'm interrupting you. Our last guest, he said, what would be your 3 top, give me the advice on being a better lover. He wanted 3 things. So now he's asking you, he wants 3. This is Lester's thing.
I am trying to get the cannabis education out to everybody. And with all that you do politically, socially, photography, you have a lot of wisdom. I'd like the people to hear what would be some of the 3 educational things.
3 things
they can take away.
She wants 3 takeaways
At the green room.
I guess the first would be know your grower. Like know who you're supporting, know the plant you're smoking. Like it's not just, I mean, people love to get high, but like it's so much more than that. And if your grower is like growing with the dirty toxins and chemicals and pests, if your grower's like doing it wrong or like they're just like a bad, you know, not a good person. Like you want to look for companies, I should say, don't even look for companies that are doing bad. Make sure that you're getting companies that are clean green certified. We can't, in Washington or in the US, we can't use the word organic because organic is an FDA regulated term. So clean green certified is essentially organic standards. So I always tell people look for clean green certified or make sure that you're asking for pesticide free. Right. Then also just, look at your company's social media, go to their website. Maybe if you see a brand you like, contact them, ask them, how are they giving back? What are they doing, you know, that sets them apart from everybody else? So I would definitely say, knowing your grower is a big one.
So that's one.
What?
That's one.
That's one.
Let's see. For number 2, I'd say for social media and marketing, what would be a good one for social media? Like I have so much. Definitely don't push sales if you're a shop or a producer processor. And just, oh man.
Use it. How about use it? Use your social media. It's there. Use it. It's free. Create a story. Become a, people, be a brand. People want to follow. We fall into your story and your narrative and your.
Yeah, I would say that's a really important one. It's like, be so much more than just like a name on your packaging. It's like, tell your story, communicate with people, connect with other shops, connect with other brands. Like, don't look at it as like, ooh, we're like against each other.
Right.
We're all in this like growing, like there's room for everyone. It's like the beer industry. Like look at how many beer companies exist. Like we've got probably thousands of like craft breweries.
Yeah.
And just because one craft farm exists doesn't mean that like another one can't exist or isn't as good. It's like,
They're just different. There's room for all of them. It's a crazy space where everyone's so competitive that way. It's very like, ours is the best and everything else sucks. Well, no.
Yeah, so use social media to connect with people and
Okay, so that's 2.
Yeah, that's 2. So that
now
one
you got 3.
That one falls right in line with you.
Did I have a negative?
No.
Number 3.
I don't care if you go political.
I know. I guess number 3, political. Let's make this third one a little bit political. Look at the legislation that you're signing. In some of the states that are getting passed, I think people are so quick to sign legal pot laws, that people jump on board with legislation that is actually bad. I mean, like Chicago, Illinois is a great example of that. I believe they have 34 shops for the entire state, and their taxes are like 40%, 37%. Same thing with California. It's really corrupt. So just make sure that, even in Washington, our state legislature, we have a 60-day session this year, and they've tried to push so many cannabis laws through without people even knowing. And just in politics in general. Once I started looking at, our cannabis stuff, then I started seeing, well, what else are they trying to cram down our throats in 60 days? And it's things like they want to use camera surveillance to track our license plates, which is also going to be used for parking enforcement, according to the law. Just crazy things that they're proposing. And so, really, for everything, just look at what you're voting on and be informed, look at both sides.
Pay attention.
Question everything.
Pay attention. Be curious.
I like it.
I want to ask, what's a gram cost? What's a legal gram of weed cost, roughly?
Oh, gosh. I'd say in Washington, you can get a legal gram of weed for maybe $10 to $12 for average to maybe $15.
And what do you think of that? Do you think that's a lot?
I think it's good. I guess what makes it hard is the final price that we're paying. We're paying the price with the 37% excise tax on it. So the shops, they're not making that $12. They're making that minus 37%. So some of our taxes are really high. I think the money could definitely be better allocated.
Right.
But I think our prices overall are pretty fair.
Huh.
So what's coming up for you in 2020?
2020, what's exciting?
2020. My agency is growing. I have a marketing agency, in conjunction to my Instagram. I've always been worried, what if my Instagram goes down? I got to have something else to do. So I have a marketing agency, and I do social media for a bunch of other companies, and I've just been bringing on new clients. I've been growing my team in terms of employees,
nice.
Just delegating work. For the first couple of years I was in business, I had companies that were amazing clients, but they didn't have big marketing budgets. And so I was taking on clients, with the hopes that maybe they'd be able to grow their budgets or, just because I wanted to help them. I was doing more work than I was being paid for.
Right.
And I was just burning out. And so, it's been really nice this year to be these are my rates. This is what I am worth. And this is why, things cost what they do. And companies are seeing the value in that, and they're paying it, and we're growing their channels. And, just bringing on a really nice diversity of clients. It's shops and ancillary brands and growers, both indoor and out. And so
where can people find you on social media? Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, where can we find you?
My handle and my everything, website, social handles, is the letter I, the letter M, CannaBess, BESS.
Love it.
And that's everywhere. Instagram. Back to your Facebook thing. Your little politician buddy that's not your buddy anymore. who unfriended who first? Did you block him or unfriend, or did he go first?
Oh, he blocked. I don't unless
I don't block people.
Really making threats or when I was being bullied.
I read those on Twitter.
Yeah,
I read
people where it's people have been making threats to we're gonna get you canceled. You better start looking for backup work. You're canceled. All your clients are too. That kind of stuff I'll block people for, because I just can't risk it. People are crazy.
Yep.
They've got access to multiple accounts, and they'll come and flag you all at once.
Right.
And,
yeah.
Saboteurs.
So, that.
Man,
Anyhow,
I am.
What do you want?
Nothing. I want to thank you for so much for just taking some time with us. That's what I want to do.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for having me. Come to Seattle. Come to Washington.
Definitely when we're in the area, we're going to stop in.
Yeah, the green room's coming to Washington.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
You're welcome
fun. We'll
anytime.
smoke a joint right in, I don't know. What do you guys, what do you have? Washington has the White House, right? Or no?
Oh, shit.
Do you
Yeah.
have the White House? Where's, DC? I don't freaking know. Oh my God. Lester, take
I
this
love
over.
it. I love it.
Goodbye. I'll talk to you later on social media.
We have the Space Needle.
What's that?
Oh, that's
the
right.
Space Needle.
That's right. I
The
do-
Space Needle. Yeah.
We'll
That's a
smoke
big
a
one.
joint at the Space Needle.
That would be cool. I'm down with it.
No, we'll do mushrooms. at the
I'm
Space Needle.
CannaBess. Thank you
I don't know.
so
I did
much.
the first time I ever did mushrooms. We were at the Space Needle for like a hippie festival, and it was a fun story. And apparently, two dudes got in a fight. It was like it's called folk life, so I'll let you imagine what it's
Yeah.
like. And it was
Right.
me and like my friends, and we ate mushroom chocolates for the first time. And we were like super shrooming in the plants, and these dudes next to us were talking about nanotechnology because they work in nanotechnology, and I was like mind blown that this existed even 10 years ago. And then somebody pistol whipped somebody, and a gun went off, and then everybody
Man.
it was like a wave of people, and we were like, ah!
I'd have to say that's a bad setting for a mushroom trip. Remember, your set is very important.
Nanotechnology and heaters. Okay.
We got some good hikes around here. If you guys want to come and like go smoke weed on the trails, check out a waterfall. We got a lot of that.
Well, lady, you're hype, and I like your energy, man. I really do. I really do. And thank you so much for coming in the green room with
Yeah,
my
of course. Thanks for having me.
my
Yeah, thanks
partner
for
in that.
joining us. That was really fun and interesting. I mean, she's cute and smart.
Smart is what I love. I love the smart. Energy's a kicker.
really, really interesting. Thank you for joining us.
All right, lady. You take it easy.
Take
All
care.
right, you too.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
You always know where to get your cannabis talk. Always fresh and a little bit.
Sticky.
Keep it locked to Cannabis Wiki, the green room, and we're out. Peace.
See ya.